Hey guys, and thanks so much for joining me for another week of What's for Dinner. My name is Stephanie. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are not, welcome back. I've got some delicious, easy, and quick recipes to share with you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to be making is a shepherd's pie. I call it shepherd's pie, but I believe it's called cottage pie because I'm using regular ground beef instead of lamb. But yeah, this is a super easy recipe. Every time I have leftover mashed potatoes, it's like the first thing I think of is to make this. So something that's been in my family forever and is super easy for me to make, and I'll show you guys how I make it. So once everyone's all cooked down in here, what I'm doing is I'm going to add in some beef broth, and then I'm adding in some Worcestershire sauce as well. But I'm adding in the beef broth like I would if I was making tacos. You know how before you put the taco seasoning in, you're supposed to add in some water or whatever. So I'm basically doing that just to get the gravy to develop. So I'm going to let that cook down and simmer for just a little bit, and then I'll show you guys how I layer everything together. So as you are about to see, I definitely put this in way too small of a pan, so definitely make this in at least a 9x9. I would say I was pushing it for sure. But I'm going ahead and putting my beef down in here, and then I'm also putting in my corn. I just mix the 2 cans of corn together and layer that in there. If you don't have leftover mashed potatoes, you can definitely just make mashed potatoes quickly, or instant mashed potatoes or whatever, and just pile it on there and use a big enough dish. I'm actually making this for my mom, so I was bringing it to her house and putting the cheese on at that time. I'm just gonna pop this in the oven, and here it is when it comes out. That was at 350 for 20 minutes, and again, way too small of a dish, but this is so good, you guys. Super comfort food. I'll show you what it looks like on the plate. I usually put ketchup on mine. I'm not a humongous ketchup person, but for some reason I love this with ketchup. It's super delicious whatever you put on it, and it's super easy, so you really can't go wrong. So tonight's dinner was meatloaf with mac and cheese and some salad. My sister was over and we were just hanging out. I didn't get to film this. I was already 10 steps in, and then I remembered to film, so but yeah, dinner was delicious. I will definitely be making this again, so I will totally film it then. But that's what was for dinner that night. So tonight's dinner is queso chicken enchiladas. I kind of made up this recipe, and I'm so happy that I did. This was so delicious and everybody loved it. So the first thing I'm doing is sauteing my chicken breast in the bottom of the pot here just to get out some of the liquid. I did season those up with half of the taco seasoning, and I'm going to put the other half in here. So once I've got that all mixed up together, I'm going to go ahead and pop the top on here and cook this for 10 minutes on manual pressure. So I've gone ahead and taken my chicken breasts out and shredded those up, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my entire jar of queso in here. So at this point, I've turned the saute function back on my Instant Pot, and I've got it on the higher setting. That way this sauce can heat up and reduce a little bit because the queso is coming right out of the jar. So once it starts doing its thing and getting all nice and bubbly, I'm gonna add in a cup of sour cream. I'm gonna whisk all that together, turn the saute function off, and put that to the side so it can thicken up a little bit. And that's gonna be the sauce that I put over my chicken enchiladas, which I will show you guys how I'm putting together. So I did forget to put shredded cheese on my little recipe board. Can't believe I forgot that. Majorly important in any kind of enchilada is the cheese. But yeah, so you'll see me putting a little bit of shredded cheese in here. I'm just using the chicken and the cheese because I know that this sauce is gonna get all up in the enchilada, and it's gonna just be so delicious. I did put a little bit of the enchilada sauce, the queso sauce, on the bottom as well, just to kind of, get it soaked up into every crevice of these little enchiladas. But yeah, so this is kind of how I made them. I just rolled them up, got them in the pan, and I'll show you guys. I'm going to pour all the sauce over the top and put some shredded cheese on there, and then it's gonna go into a 350-degree oven for 20 minutes. So I also just want to say that this sauce ends up tasting, I don't know if everybody knows what Tijuana Flats is. It's like a Mexican place by us, but I know it's a franchise, so I don't know if you guys will know what that is. But it tastes just like the queso that they serve at Tijuana Flats. It's so good. Alright, so my enchiladas are all done here and they look delicious. The cheese is melty, the sauce is bubbly. I've got some diced tomato and some avocado on top, just to give a little freshness to the like richness of like the cheese and the chicken and all that stuff. But this was so super delicious and so good, you guys. I know I say that every week, but I don't know how else to describe super delicious food other than saying it's super delicious. But if you like Mexican food, you're really gonna love this dish. Alright, so the last thing I'm making for this week, you guys, is chicken scampi. It is so delicious. I love scampi sauce. I just don't like shrimp, so I just use chicken instead, but you definitely can use shrimp. It's just garlicky and buttery and lemony and delicious, and I'm going to show you guys how I made it. Alright guys, so I'm just going to start here by browning up and seasoning up my chicken. Once that gets brown, I'm going to go ahead and add in the butter in here and get my onions going in the pan as well. Then once that's cooked down a fair bit, I'm going to go ahead and add in my garlic. But I do just want my onions to get a bit of a head start. Then I will start adding in my liquids. So the starchy cooking liquid from the pasta is your friend here. It's going to help to pull the sauce together. And I salt the water before cooking my pasta, which you should always do, so it's got some flavor from that. Then I've got some freshness from the tomato and the lemon juice, and some richness from the Parmesan cheese and the cream, and like also the butter a little bit. So it's really, really balanced and like super flavorful dish. The last thing I'm going to do is to hit it with some parsley. This is one of the few times that I actually go out and get fresh parsley. I feel like it makes a slight difference, but dried parsley is totally fine because I use that for like everything. But now I'm going ahead and dropping my pasta in here, and I'm going to get it all mixed up and get the noodles going so they can soak up a little bit of that sauce, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Alright guys, here it is. Super, super delicious. I can't wait for you guys to make this one. I've got my pan over here as well with some lemon slices in it. Barefoot Contessa, aka Ina Garten, aka Queen of Food, always puts some lemons in her scampi, or if she's making a dish that has like a prominent ingredient, she always says that she puts it on the side like in display so people know it's in the dish. So I do that too sometimes when I get my Food Network on. But yeah, this is super delicious, you guys. I really hope you make it. It's so good because it's like rich but also light and flavorful, and just it's super, super good. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me this week. Thank you so much for tuning back in for another week of What's for Dinner. I hope you guys were able to get some delicious dinner inspiration. If you were, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more. I hope you all have a blessed and awesome week, and I'll see you later. Bye!